Okay, salam everyone. As usual, I start with just a very brief recap. So far, we've started through a focus on developing concentration and hudur, presence. We then moved to looking at inner purity, tahara bataniya. And last time we focused specifically on the wudu as one form of purification. And we went through all of the symbolism there of each of the actions in wudu, essentially all of it being the process of washing away all of the impressions, all of the forms, all of the objects in our awareness, and creating an empty space that is prepared to receive Allah's presence. Okay, so that was what we did so far. Today we start with a focus on facing the Qibla. So let me share the slides. And we can begin here. Okay, so facing the Qibla is actually a specific step in the process of preparation for Salah. Okay, so this is all happening before the official Salah has started. It's part of the preparation, but facing the Qibla, the actual act of doing that, is a very important step because it symbolizes a lot of important things. It symbolizes turning away from the world of objects and multiplicity, al-kathra, turning towards the one, towards the absolute witness, the source of all being, the source of all perfection, fullness, and peace. So there's two aspects to that. One is turning away, and one is turning towards. Both of these are important, and we'll go into more detail about that. But there's two aspects to this that we should be focused on. There's a long series of hadiths and material about this topic, and I just took a short quotation from it, where it says, إذا استقبلت القبلة فآيس من الدنيا وما فيها واستفرغ قلبك عن كل شيء يشغلك عن الله. So quite self-explanatory. It's really about dropping all attention and all hopes and all occupation with dunya, with the world of objects and everything that's in it, and emptying the heart and having it focused only on Allah. Now, we've spoken about exactly the techniques we need to do that, right? So, stafragh qalbak, everyone says, yeah, okay, but how? Well, here, at least we've started to learn specific techniques of how to do that. Now, when it comes to the Qibla, though, this is the kind of advice that I can give, or some tips about how to go about it. One is that to do it in a very conscious way. Okay, most of the time, we do wudu and then we put down our prayer mat and we kind of just start. Okay, but the actual moment that you turn your attention to the Qibla, most of the time, I would say most of us probably don't pay too much attention to that moment. But what we're saying here is make that moment a very conscious, deliberate moment where you pause, you deliberately do it very consciously. Okay, so that's the first point. The second is that with everything that we do, we remain grounded with that bodily attention. Okay, so in fact, that's the natural way to do it. If you have been working on that bodily attention, it is the body that first turns its attention itself towards the direction of the Qibla, but at the same time, internally, we turn away from all objects and we generate a one-pointed focus but you do it with your whole being, right? That's why we did the bodily attention, so that you're not just turning your attention with your mind. It won't stay there for long if that's all you do. But if you do it with your whole being, you turn that attention towards that presence. Okay? And at the same time, you drop awareness of all others, all other things. Okay? And the practice I have here is something I call make the world disappear. Okay? And I'll explain what I mean by that. Okay? This was something that I learned to do myself, which is that there's a difference between you and Allah being existing in this whole world. Everything is around you, and you're focusing on Him. Okay, so I'm sitting here. I have a table. There's a chair. There's a light here. There's my phone. All these objects are here, but I'm just going to focus my attention on Allah. That's obviously the first step that you should take. But there is a deeper level you can go. It's a little bit hard to describe it. All of these things, anything to do with the spiritual practice, it's difficult to convey exactly what I mean, but hopefully I can describe it. What you do beyond that type of focus and turning attention is that at the same time, it's almost like imagining nothing else exists. Okay, is nothing else exists in the world. It's not that you're not paying attention to it. It's a kind of a deeper level. It's almost like an imagination, but it's like imagining that Allah didn't create anything else. He only created you. And let's say you're in this dark, empty space. There is nothing else. Nothing else exists. Because even things existing without you paying attention to them, there is a subtle kind of distraction there. Okay, you are still in the world of multiplicity, but with a little bit of focus. What we want to do is go beyond that. And so imagine that you can make the whole world disappear. It's completely empty. And it's just you. Imagine if it was just you and Allah existing. So that's what I mean by make the world disappear. Okay. Now I think these things are things you have to try for yourself. You kind of experiment with it. Normally, the way that I do any type of practice, I don't advocate using imagination. Okay. And hopefully you've seen that throughout everything that we've done. It's mostly about very clear focus, attention, awareness, being conscious of what is here, not imagining things and getting lost. Because imagination is like a thought, right? It's like thoughts and images. You get lost again. That's why I don't advocate imagination. But in this case, this type of imagination, make the world disappear, it's slightly different because you are subtracting. You're not adding anything. Okay, so we're not asking you to imagine some kind of a form or some kind of a scene. I'm doing the opposite. The whole process of Salah, in a way, can be summarized as subtract everything. That's one of the instructions I have from one of my teachers. Just subtract everything. That's the secret to deepening the Salah. Okay, so that's what I mean by this practice. And this is what you do at the moment of turning towards the Qibla, is making everything else. This is what he means by ayas min ad-dunya wastafrigh qalbak. Just do it. Try it for yourself. Imagine a world nothing else exists other than you and him. Okay, so that's what I wanted to mention about QIBLA. All right. Now, moving on from there, we come to the next step, which is the ADHAN. Okay. And the ADHAN, what we have now is really the first, beginnings of the actual Salah starting to take shape. And this itself is an invitation, okay? And receive it as an invitation. You are being invited to enter his presence. With all of your shortcomings, with all of the things that you come with, he is still inviting you to come. And that place that you're going to is that place where you will experience your happiness, your peace, and getting away from that separation. So that's what this adhan is. It's that invitation to come. And so we should treat it that way. We repeat those words, the same call, to establish that understanding in ourselves, to trigger, use it as a trigger to start to prepare for the next steps. And here, what we talked about last session, actually, and we'll talk about it several times, okay? Any time where there are words involved, when we're at the stage where we're going to say something, we're going to speak something, there's a delicate way that you have to learn to do it, whereby what you do is you maintain that bodily attention. You never let go of that. Don't get pulled back up into the mind and into the words and the concepts. That's not what we do. You remain anchored with the bodily attention, but you learn, okay, as we did when we first experimented with it, right? And if you've been practicing it, you learn to be able to open your eyes and see, but still keep the attention on the body. You're still doing both. In the same way, when we're going to say any words in the salah, we learn to do this same practice where we remain anchored with the bodily attention, and then we're able to still put some of our attention on what we are saying, and do both at the same time. It takes practice to learn how to do that, and that's what I encourage you all to continue to work at. You have to work on being able to do that. Okay, so when you do that, part of you is speaking, but there is a deeper part of you that is actually listening to what is said. Okay, it's not as though you are saying the words. Okay, yes, your tongue is doing the action of saying the words, but really that's almost on autopilot. From a deeper level, you are listening to what is being said, and you feel that attention, that invitation pulling you towards him. Okay, so in terms of the state of mind of how you approach it, that's how to go about it. And now we can go into the actual adhan. I won't go into every single line of what we say, every single part of it. I'll just pick out the key important parts and just say a few things just to give you a deeper appreciation of what is meant by it from an Islamic spirituality point of view, or Irfani point of view. Okay, it starts with Allahu Akbar. Okay, now Allahu Akbar has been understood in many different ways. The way that we take it here is that Allahu Akbar min an yusaf. Okay, Akbar min an yusaf. So he is beyond description. That's what it means. It does not mean he's great or greater than other things. He's not greater. He's not even the greatest. He's beyond description. That's what Allahu Akbar actually means. And then when we say it 4 times in the adhan, each time is referring to a different aspect of that. Okay, so this is a very core Irfani way of understanding things, or the structure of their understanding is that, as we talked about a little bit before, we talk about the essence, and then the attributes and the names. Okay, I think before we just talked about attributes. The names are also synonymous. They are on par, same as the names. Okay, the names and the attributes, and then the actions. Okay, al-af'al. So here we have that, al-sifat, al-asma, and al-af'al. Okay. Every time in Irfan we talk about Allah, we talk about wujud, we talk in these terms. Okay. We talk about the essence, the attributes, the names, and the actions of Allah. All right. And so in the Adhan, this is one way of understanding why 4 times Allahu Akbar. What do they actually mean? They are pointing to or indicating that he is beyond description, but that being beyond description has multiple dimensions to it. His essence is beyond description. Even those attributes and the names are actually beyond description. What we have is there's always a tension, and we'll see this more and more as we go through. But there's a tension between things that we will say, right? Things that we will say in Salah, in Quran, in Dua, all of these things we express and we describe Allah, okay? And we use words that He has taught us to describe Him. But, and that's fine, no problem with that, of course. But at a deeper level, all of it is really a semi-understanding that we can have. These descriptions are never complete, and in its reality, it is not possible to be described. He cannot be described. And so these are the multiple layers in which, levels in which he cannot be described. That's what Allahu Akbar means. And as we say them, we can just pay attention to these different dimensions. Just be aware of it. Don't get caught in thoughts again. Just a recognition of that. Okay. And so the practice, I put them in these red boxes, is that say the words, but at a deeper level, learn to listen to what is being said in the silence. And for me personally, it is a joyous step. It's a beautiful invitation for you to come. And so enjoy being invited. Everyone loves to be invited to whatever occasion it is. Everybody loves to be invited. Enjoy the invitation. Okay. So that's Allahu Akbar so far. Next comes Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. And this we say 2 times. And here it's a very deep subject. I won't go into a detail here, but I'll just point to that what they say in Irfan is that this uluhiyya, right? This being ilah, from the word ilah, this uluhiyya has different levels as well. And again, it's making use of this structure. And in this case, we have uluhiyya dhatiyya and uluhiyya fi'liyya. Okay, so you can think of the sifat as being as part of the dhat here, but essentially what it means is that it's deeper than our traditional understanding. The traditional understanding is that Allah is the creator, and there is only one creator, one ilah, right? One God. In the deeper sense, what we're saying is that only Allah truly exists. Only His existence, His being is the real being. Our being is not really real. It's a shadow of that real. Okay, that's actually what is meant by the ayah that says, "Alam tara ila rabbaka kayfa madda dhil, walau ja'alahu, walau sha'a ja'alahu sakina." This madda dhil is actually understood as the process of creation. Okay, the whole process of creation is madda dhil, because the existence of the world is like a shadow. Does a shadow exist? Yeah, I can see a shadow, but does it actually have any reality of its own? No, it doesn't really exist. It's a negative existence. It exists, but it doesn't exist. That fuzzy existence is the nature of our existence. So only Allah truly exists. And that's what the first Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah is pointing to. Uluhiyya dhatiyya. That's what it's meant. Okay. And the second one, uluhiyya fi'liyya. Here, and this will come much later as well in when we enter the salah itself. Here, the meaning is actually that there is no source of action. There's no actor, no one who actually performs action other than Allah. All actions are performed by Allah. They are enabled by Him. They are done by Him. There is no other source of power. It's another way of saying La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That's another way of saying a similar thing. So that's what it's meant by uluhiyya fi'liyya. Okay. So in this step, we establish one pointed attention to Allah as source of all being and all action. Okay, so those are the two levels of La ilaha illallah. Next, we come to Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Now here, the idea is that as a human being, we have an amazing potential to manifest, okay, to be a manifestation, مظهر لجميع أسماء الله وصفاته. Okay, so this is the Irfani understanding of what is al-insan. Insan is the perfect manifestation of all of Allah's attributes and His names. Okay, and so the perfect human being who has actualized, realized that potential and manifests it is Rasulullah sallallahu. And so he represents al-insan al-kamil. Okay, it's a very technical, very rich term in Irfan, is al-insan al-kamil. And that's what you are indicating when you say Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Here he represents al-insan al-kamil. Okay. At the second level, we as spiritual seekers are generally in need of a guide. And so the second step is a recognition of that perfect guide, who is not just insan al-kamil, but he's also al-mukammil, the one who perfects others. Okay, so he, through his guidance, perfects us and helps to guide us towards realizing that potential and becoming that madhar li asma Allah. Okay, so that's what we are indicating when we talk about these two times. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah is insan al-kamil and al-mukammil. And so at this point, you generate a sense of ambition and inspiration to achieve that full potential that you are capable of as a human being, and a sense of gratitude towards that guidance that you are receiving on this journey from all of those that guide us. And of course, at the head of them, Muhammad Rasulullah. There's also a beautiful hadith I've included on the bottom right here of the slide, which is also quite inspiring, which says, من صلى بأذان وإقامة صلى خلفه صفان من الملائكة ومن صلى بإقامة من غير أذان صلى خلفه صف واحد. So it's an encouragement to do both the adhan and the iqamah, because if you do, you have rows of malaika, angels, praying behind you, because you are Khalifatullah and you are Madhar Asma'ullah. Okay, so that's the adhan in a nutshell. As I said, there's a lot more there that you can go into in the remaining lines, you know, Hayya ala salah wal falah, and so on. All of that is quite straightforward. You know, it's generating the same kind of excitement, you can say, and longing to enter the salah, because that's where you will achieve success And that's where true happiness can be achieved. So that's what you can do through the remainder of the salah as well. Okay. And as I was, something I was going to say maybe earlier on actually is that, when you're working on inner work, spiritual work, you don't need a lot of material actually. Okay. There's so much to be done because most of us have spent so little time working on our internal reality that there's so much work to be done that even small little tips and small little thoughts like this, you can work on them for a long time and make use of them. So don't be in a rush to gather lots of information. Take these small pieces and put them into practice. Actually internalize them, make them real for you rather than just ideas up to now. All right, next, that's the adhan. So we've done iqama, we've done the qibla, we've done the adhan, and then we come next to the niyyah. Okay, now niyyah is it's all about ikhlas. Okay, it's all about sincerity, and it's another important moment in time. It starts with a key point, just like I said, that when you face the qibla, do it very consciously. Make it a conscious moment when you face the qibla. The same thing is crucial to do when you do the actual niyyah of the salah. It's a very crucial moment, and it requires total focus and sincerity. Okay, sincerity, that ikhlas is going to be really crucial. So, most of the time we're kind of on autopilot, right? Just going through the motions, doing our jobs. Our mind is all over the place. If you don't manage to keep control of that mind through the whole thing, at least there are some key moments you need to do it. No excuses. Okay, and niyyah is one of them. Make it a very conscious act. Okay, and one that you do with full sincerity. Now, sincerity, ikhlas, is a very deep subject and has many levels and layers to it. Okay, the niyyah of salah, of course, is qurba, right? It's to get near to him, is to enter that divine presence, that hudur, right? Salli qurbatan ila Allah. The niyyah is qurba. So the key then becomes to connect these things together. There's qurba and there's ikhlas. Okay, so that niyyah for qurba has to be with ikhlas. Okay, that's the essence of it. The niyyah for qurba needs to be with ikhlas, right? That intention to enter his presence has to be with pure sincerity, because he will not accept anything less than that. Okay, what that means is you will be depriving yourself of more nearness and experiencing the sweetness of that if you don't come with total ikhlas. Now, ikhlas, as I said, has many levels to it, but at a minimum, these are the things that we need to make sure that our niyyah is free from. It needs to be free from any worldly desires or fears. There should be no desire here. There should be no fear here. Okay. It's also free from being, from a desire to be desirable. Okay. It's meaning that you want to be accepted, you want to be loved, you want to be appreciated. All of this, put it aside. That's not why you're here. That's not why you are here. You are here with a focus on him and a desire to be near him. It's nothing to do with you being appreciated. Okay. It needs to be free from desire to do with anything fil akhirah. Okay. For us in Irfan, any desire for Jannah or any fear from Jahannam and hell and heaven is all actually a problem. It is really not appropriate. Okay, because we said it. You're saying it yourself. قربة إلى الله. What does that have to do with Jannah or Jahannam? Nothing. قربة إلى الله. Nothing else matters. Nothing else is acceptable. Okay, and of course we need to be free from any pride or feeling of being special or of any kind like that. Of course, you know, that's to be put aside. Here, they usually talk about both kibr, which is pride, and also riya. Riya being doing things for others to see you. And then the deepest level, in my opinion, is al-ujb. Al-ujb. Ujb is a feeling of self-righteousness or pride in yourself. Okay, not showing it, not showing off, not displaying it, but in yourself, you're happy with yourself. You're proud of yourself. You think you're special. That's ujb. And so all of this needs to be put aside. You're not doing this for any of those reasons. You're only doing this for qurba. Okay, so when I say make it a conscious moment, what I wrote in the description of the internal practice is jolt yourself, kind of like shake yourself out of the autopilot that you are in, at least for this moment. Be very conscious. I'm doing this for qurba. Okay, if you want to go back to autopilot after that, okay, go ahead. But please, for this moment, just jolt yourself, wake up and be fully awake and aware, conscious for this moment. Why am I doing this? Okay, and generate that sense of wanting to have that qurba. There's nothing more than that. Nothing can match it. Nothing can come close to it. And at the same time, to do that, there is a requirement that you drop all other desires. Everything else must be dropped. Now, if you remain anchored in your bodily attention, then you find a lot of these things will be easier, because the thoughts and the feelings and the desires and the distractions should have subsided. So it becomes easier for this to be your pure intention and to be fully conscious of what you are saying and to really mean it from the depth of your heart. Okay. So I think I'll stop there for today. The next session is a beautiful one, by the way. I'll just kind of preview it. There's some really rich, deep material that we can use to work on it. But I think it would be better to leave that for the next time. And I'll stop here for today. Thank you.